It's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantine Happy Hour. Woohoo! Yahoo! A weird Yahoo. Hello, everybody. How are you? Today, we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, but I've got some exciting news for you because I've been working on a new piece of audio gear called the Taxi Mix Visualizer, and I'm going to reveal it here on the show first. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about an excellent example of great music supervision. We're going to talk about why sometimes Taxi doesn't forward. Let's say you submit 4 things, one gets forwarded, the other 3 don't. And then when you connect with the library because of the one that did get forwarded, they end up taking the other 3. And I know that's, people go, well, why didn't Taxi forward it? So we're going to get into all that great stuff today. But first and foremost, I want you guys to see, hang on, I got to do a little tech work here. So I guess it was about, I don't know, a couple of years ago that, let me see here. Yeah, a couple of years ago that Ewert and I went on a vacation together. And, yeah, I think we were in Turkey on this vacation. And then I was like, and look where Ewert was. He was also in one of those ancient outhouses. Anyway, thanks for sending that shot in, Ewert. It was a great trip. Glad we could go together. Oh, man. The goofy things we do on this show. Oh, no. Somebody's car alarm is going off. Didn't have to deal with things like car alarms working out of the house. It's actually good to be back in the office, but I miss, like, let's say my forehead is too shiny and I want to go upstairs and rinse off my face before I dab on my powder for the shiny forehead. Can't do that as easily here. I could do it in the kitchen. Yep, there's the car alarm. And I'm snacking a lot less now that I'm here, so that's good. Scott Hansen's in the house today. Right, that is the throne room. They turned it off. Yay. All right, so a couple things. Oh, by the way, somebody sent me the nicest email about Robin Frederick's ebooks, so I'm going to plug that here on the show today. Oh, that's funny. Look at that. That's weird. Anyway, Shortcuts to Hit Songwriting was Robin's first book, and it was a smash hit as far as songwriting books go, and is an industry standard, but people kept saying, when are you going to update? When are you going to come up with a revised edition? So being that Robin never does anything halfway, she spent a couple of years and did level 1, level 2, and level 3 as ebooks, all told, or totaled. They're about 900 pages. Let's see. I don't understand my own notes. Anyway, the bottom line is that somebody sent me an email saying that they had gotten this, but they fully expected that level 1 would just be a rehash of the print version of the book. And they were so delighted that for a mere $30, they got 900 pages of Robin Frederick. So there you go. I'm plugging it. Liz, if you would be so kind to throw up a link to this. I forgot to tell you that before the show. So if it takes a minute, no problemo. So there's that. That's right. Virtual Magic. You guys are seeing me, right? Somebody said, Ewert missed his big moment. You guys are seeing me, right? Yeah, because you're talking to me about the... All right, well, when Ewert gets on, he's going to have to go back and check out the beginning of the show. Yeah, you guys are seeing me. Okay. All right, and I see Pat Wara in the room, and I want to address a question that he sent in the other day. Why, thank you, Ken Mesford. Let's see, Pat said in an email, or either an email or a comment under a video, I saw the following description in a taxi listing and it was different than usual. Quoting listing, this company offers an exclusive buyout deal and you'll get paid an upfront fee for your tracks, which will be negotiated on a case-by-case basis with the licensing company. You'll also keep the writer's share and get performance royalties directly from your PRO. The music library gets 100% exclusive ownership of the copyright and master. You must own or control your master and composition to submit. Pat says it was also a bit confusing saying that the licensing company owns 100% exclusive ownership and copyright, but also says the artist keeps the writer's share. Well, I told the staff about this and told them not to miss. Most of the time we do put in there that they're getting the publisher's share. But when they buy the publisher's share, they do own it and control it. The writer's share always stays with you. Oh, I'm looking green. The writer's share almost always stays with you, like 99.5% of the time. There have been a few rare exceptions when we've run listings where the companies, for a particular reason, ask the writers to give up a piece of the writer's share. We don't like to do that, but we happen to love the one or two companies that were asking, and it was a particular circumstance, so we let them slide on that. But it's not something that we endorse or want to make a habit of. Anyway, this listing is no different from any other than they're giving you some cash up front to buy the publisher's share and the master rights and control all that stuff. But as always, you keep the writer's share, or 99.5% of the time. You keep the writer's share, and the money that lands in your bank account through your PRO, being ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC, comes from the PRO and does not funnel through the library. So I hope that answered the question for you. It's still not green enough that you see through my face. That's good. All right. So has Ewart joined us yet? All right, Ewart, I'll pop it back up for a moment, but you got to go watch the beginning of the episode just so you can see how I treated it before. And there I am on vacation with my buddy Ewart in Turkey. And yes, this is where we went after eating a very filling lunch. So there you go. Thanks for sending that in, Ewart. Pretty funny, I must say. All right, and here I am back at Westlake Studios, sitting in front of the Neve. Okay, so are you ready for the big reveal? Are you guys ready to check out the Taxi Mix Visualizer? Give me a +1 if you want, if you're ready for the Mix Visualizer. Marion says yes. Okay, there we go. There's some +1s rolling in. Okay. All right, I want you guys to know that I'm going to give this away. Anybody who wants one can have it. It will help you visualize your workflow while you're working on a mix. Got to turn around. And there you go. There is your mix visualizer. Let's see. Channel 24. Yeah. Let's go to the monitor section. How are those VU meters looking? Yes, I am laughing. I love the mix visualizer. You know what? I'm not the only one laughing. Anyway, these are 100% free. You can pick them up at any hardware store. Oh, man. I was unpacking a box of stuff that I brought from the house back to the office. And in the box was a piece of green gaffer's tape left over from the road rally. And I went like this and moved across the screen. I went, whoa, I can see that. So then I thought, well, why don't I just take a bigger piece of tape and create the mix visualizer? Now I've ripped all my makeup off my forehead, so you're going to have to deal with a shiny forehead for the rest of the show. Right. I should have, my background should be, here, let's see. I'm thinking about going on vacation. Yes. Dreaming about Hawaii. Let's see. Let's go on a night cruise. There we go. All right. Well, that was fun. I'm glad that I could share that mixed visualizer with you guys. Oh, where's my list of stuff I want to talk about today? Okay, so as I've mentioned several times before, Deb and I just finished last night watching the last three episodes of Breaking Bad, which is an excellent series. For the longest time, Deb kept saying, the last thing I want to do is watch a show about people making crystal meth. So we finished binging whatever the last series was that we watched. And I said, Deb, people tell me this is like the best television show that's ever been on TV. How about if we try 1 or 2 episodes? If you don't like it, bothers you, we don't have to watch it. She loved it. It gets pretty violent. A lot of people get beat up. A lot of people get shot. Yes, there are drugs in it throughout. But she liked it. It is addictive. And so last night, in the last episode, even if you've never watched the show, let me rephrase that. If you have no intention of ever watching the show, or you have already watched the show, then go on Netflix and go to the seasons or episodes thing and go right to the very last episode, which I think is episode 16 of season number 5. And there is a scene where, I can't give it away because some of the people may end up watching it. All I can tell you is, for those of you who have seen it and those of you who plan on never seeing it, spoiler thing doesn't matter, go to episode 16 of season 5 and watch the scene where they use the Badfinger song Baby Blue. I guess I should tell you that the crystal meth that almost becomes like a character in the show has a blue cast to it, and it becomes kind of a famous version of crystal meth. There's also, remember, I think it's Tommy James and the Shondells did Crystal Blue Persuasion, right? Crystal Blue Persuasion, talking about blue crystal meth. So both those songs are used incredibly well. And just when I saw them, I looked at Deb and I said, that's what music supervision is all about. You know, that's kind of the higher end of the art form. So there you go. We'll probably watch Better Call Saul as well. I think, what's the TV rating on it, on Breaking Bad? I don't know. Kids are out of the house now, so it could be XXX. No, I'm kidding. That would never happen in our house. Definitely not. Do they typecast? I don't know the context of that. Yeah, great character acting. Just the level of acting, even if you have no desire to watch a show about the manufacturing of crystal meth, if it doesn't appeal to you at all, just know that the level of acting in the show is stupendous. I mean, you sit there kind of breathless going, how can these people be so incredibly convincing? And it's not just like one or two of the bigger stars in the cast. It's pretty much everybody, even down to people that have like minor roles, minor reoccurring roles where maybe they're in 3, 4, 5, or 10 episodes out of 5 seasons. Their level of acting is unbelievable as well. What else? Oh, tonight we're going to watch El Camino, which is the movie they made as kind of a follow-up to Breaking Bad, and it's a 2-hour movie. So, and I think that came out like 6 years after the series ended. But looking forward to that. Oscar goes to Crystal Blue Meth. Yes. Okay, so that's that. Now let's talk about. So one of our members who we like a lot, even if we didn't like him a lot, he would get treated the same, but it happens to be somebody that we like a lot. He's been in the chat room on many of these things. He lives far away, so he doesn't participate in the quarantinis that often because it'd be in the middle of the night for him. But he sent the nicest email and said, look, I'm not complaining. I just want you to know that and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, and I hope I get this right. I'm pretty sure it's all right. I just didn't want to read the email because I just thought about including this in today's show right before I went live on the air. I didn't have a chance because he's sleeping to say, hey, can I read your email verbatim? Anyway, the short version is I really like Taxi a lot. By the way, I submitted, I think it was 5 tracks for a particular listing, and only one of the 5 got forwarded. Well, lo and behold, I can't stand how green I am. Hang on, folks. I'm going to degreen myself right here on live TV. Oops, wrong shot. Don't want to degreen that. I want to degreen me. All right, now I'm a little red. Not to you guys yet. I haven't gone live with the shot because I'm so technically adept. I give up. What the hell? We're sticking with the setting I had. It's like I need a finer setting. Okay, anyway, so submitted 5, 1 got forwarded. Library reached out to him and said, love this, want to sign it, got anything else? He sent them the other 4 that the Taxi screener did not forward, and 3 of the other 4 got picked up by the library. So I kind of figured what the reasoning was, or how, the chain of events behind that, why that happened. But I imagine from the member perspective, it's like, you guys are a bunch of dopes over there at Taxi. You didn't forward 4 of these things, and 3 of them got picked up by the very library that ran the listing. So I forwarded the email to the A&R team here and made them aware of it. I already kind of had figured out what the problem was. Not there's a problem, what the circumstance was. And they looked into it, and they collectively, meaning the head screener, Tom, who's the head of A&R, Eric, who works with Tom and the head screener, the 3 of them listened to it and thought the screener was right. So how could it be that 4 Taxi people were wrong and the library picked something that they didn't? Initially, the screener did not. Well, here is the answer. So the answer I got back from the people on the A&R staff who double-checked the screener's work, and by the way, it was kind of a legendary screener whose work has always been impeccable at Taxi, that screened it. And when the A&R staff, meaning the management of the A&R department, listened to it, listened to the other submissions, they said, well, the problem is that they just didn't fit what the listing asked for. So they didn't get forwarded for that very reason. Now, when the library says, what else do you have? And you send it, and they go, I can use that. So then we're stuck in this kind of egg on the face position of, well, you guys didn't forward it, but the library owner took it. Well, the library owner took it under a different circumstance. If we bend the rules, and every time we hear something that doesn't fit what the listing asked for, but is good, and we forward that to the company is going to get way more material, and they're going to be going through it and be going, well, this isn't what I asked for, and that's not what I asked for, and that's not what I asked for. It's good, but it's not what I asked for. So we have long talked about having kind of like a B category when we send out our disco playlist to the people in the industry, that we would send them, here's other stuff that we heard that even though it wasn't on target for what you asked for, we thought you'd want to hear it. And right now you guys are probably going, yay! Great idea. And we've talked about this endlessly for many years, and we really like the idea, but here's the problem. So this way, if we did that, let's say we had the A list of 5 or 10 or 15 or whatever the number of actual forwards are, and then below it, here's some other stuff we heard while screening the submissions for this listing that we thought didn't fit your requirements, but were also good enough that you should hear them. That sounds like a great plan, right? Here's the problem. The members will then expect, where do you draw the line on that? Oh, so this didn't fit the criteria and you forwarded it this time, but the next time it doesn't get forwarded because it's way off the criteria. And then, like, how close to the line is it? You know, a first down is a first down, or it isn't a first down in football. There was another reason I had for this. And then, so my stuff got forwarded on the B list, let's call it the B list, and shouldn't get forwarded on the B list. Other times I submit, and it's going to encourage members to start submitting more wildly, which is the one thing we've avoided since day number one around here. I think that's the reason that what we do works so well for the industry side of things, is that they know when they get something from us that it's going to be, you know, like 95 to 99% on target. So then there's that problem, is we'd be training the members, if you think you got something but it's not that close, go ahead and send it anyway, because we'll forward it on the B list. So just wondering what you guys think about that. Raise the bar, not lower it. Yeah, in this case, it's actually not even raising the bar or lowering it. It's kind of moving it to the left or the right. Let's see. Marion says, I prefer having listings be precise as to what the music soups and libraries are seeking. Lamar says, I think the current way works. Taxi does it right. Wow. I really didn't expect that you guys would be that into it. Jim Stamper likes the B list, warts and all. Chris Anderson, maintain your standards. It's working as it is, says Pat. If they contact us and they ask us for what else we've got, yeah, you know, that's the cool part. We know that happens. I just don't want the members thinking, how could Taxi miss those 4 forwards? And I'm 99.999% sure that if I were to play this music for you, read the listing and play you the music, I haven't heard it myself, full transparency there, but I absolutely trust that 3 out of 3 Taxi staff members in the A&R department, who are very adept at this sort of thing, listened to it and went, yeah, it's just not on target. I feel bad, though. I don't want the members thinking that we somehow blew it. Plus an extra $5 for an even longer shot. The oldest forest. Hey, welcome to the chat. I've never seen you in there before. Keep them precise. If you get forwarded, then you have the chance to show them what else you can do in the example. Ken Messert, I want to get better. Okay. Knowing the real demand is crucial. Listings are specific. If you get a call from the library after and they ask for more, that's great. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Michael's explanation makes sense. I know. I wish I actually mandated that the A&R staff try and come up with some solution that we haven't thought about in all these years and get back to me. I don't know that they'll be able to solve the problem. I hope they can. Carl Mussman says, keep it the same, even though the same thing has happened to me 3 times. This way you learn to write to spec better. There you go. Now, the B list doesn't mean the screener is on the fence. That's a misconception or misunderstanding, Jim. Screener wasn't on the fence about it. The screener was certain. The screener listened to it and went, this isn't what the company asked for, genre-wise, stylistically. It wasn't a matter of being on the fence. That's a whole different issue. Is it good enough or is it not? That's one issue. Doesn't meet what the listing asked for, genre-wise or stylistically, is a whole other issue. Pedro's in the house. Hello, Pedro. Oh, I've got to show Pedro my Pedro. Brace yourself, dude. This is the first time Taxi has released some software. This is my latest invention. This is the Taxi Mix Visualizer, so that you can just like look right into the console and see what's happening on each track. What's happening on the mix bus? Do I have compression on the mix bus? Anyway. Okay, the oldest for us says, I recently submitted 2 songs. One got forwarded, and I know exactly why the other didn't. I submitted on a whim thinking not on target, but maybe they'll like it. I like the targeted way this works. Got it. You like my software, huh, Pedro? Oh, man. I wonder, let's see if I could do that on my ears. Look at that. I've got ears with a Neve EQ curve built in. Just the perfect amount of harmonic distortion. I could smell a hit. All right, I'm going to act like a grown-up now. Probably ruin the show, though. It's funnier now than it was the first time. How is that possible, Marion? Paul says, I got an email that one of my tracks made the Taxi Top 10, and in the same hour I found out the storage unit that's been my studio for years is kicking musicians out. Wow. That sucks. Wonder why. Yes, I do have a nose for hits. You record percussion music and you live in an apartment. That's a tough one, Paul. I've got a solution. Go to your local pet store, buy some rats, and then release them under the door of your neighbors, and do that 3 or 4 times in a month, and then you won't have to worry about the neighbors anymore. Yeah, you're right. I don't have green eyes, thankfully. But you know what? I just said to Deb, I had to run home in the middle of the day today because, as many of you know, we're having to replace the countertop and the backsplash in the kitchen because of a water leak that caused some plywood to expand, which caused the granite to crack. And we couldn't do an edit on the granite because that granite didn't exist anymore. So we get to spend somewhere close to $10,000 because the silicone around the sink We have a over-counter undermount sink, and the water leaked in there and caused it just to expand like a 64th of an inch, which was enough to crack the granite. And it was like dominoes falling at that point. We eventually had chunks of granite coming out. So Paul's going to buy the rats right now. Anyway, so Deb called me and said, I'm not sure I like the new faucet that we picked out. Because, when you replace the countertop and the backsplash, you absolutely have to replace the faucet. It's because the handle on our old faucet was a little worse for the wear. So we picked one out a few days ago, and she decided today, right before the plumber was going to put it in, that she didn't love it anymore. So I had to run home and look at an alternate that she brought home from the plumbing supply place today. I didn't like it. So then we both had to go to the store together. And what did we end up going with? The one that we started with, the new one that we started with. So why was I telling you this? I was home today and something Deb said about something. I don't remember, whatever. I'm getting old. I can't remember anything. Question is, will you save the house? I don't understand. Whoa, one of my guys dropped a bucket full of water off a 38-story building. It made chunks of concrete, also known as a crater. When I was a kid, I used to visit relatives in Chicago that lived in a high-rise, and I would throw pennies off the roof. My uncle saw me doing that. He grabbed me by my collar and yelled at me. He said, penny could split somebody's head open from up here. Okay. Scared the crap out of me. I thought he was going to throw me off the roof. Let's see, do I have anything else on my list today? No, I didn't. Hey, Pedro, have you watched Breaking Bad? Because if you have not, and you don't think that you will ever watch it, so go to the very last episode of the entire series and watch how they use the Badfinger song, Baby Blue. It was great. Yeah, could you imagine if that bucket of water hit somebody? I was in New York City when I was probably in my late 20s. I think I was in New York working on a record or something, and I was out and about somewhere near Grand Central Station, like in the mid-40s. I don't know, the mid-40s, not far. I was close to I was a block away, actually, from the Pan Am building the day that the commuter helicopter crashed on the roof of the Pan Am, what used to be the Pan Am building, and chunks of the rotors came off and fell to the ground, and one of the rotors hit some lady and just took her out. Luckily, I didn't see that, but I could hear the stuff falling. A sound. It's one of those sounds you will never forget. Yeah, it's speaking to Pedro now, because the rest of you aren't here. It's just private conversation. Now, Pedro, it's one of the better moments in music supervision, gotta say. Dan Weber's dad worked on the World Trade Center. Falling water was the last thing he worried about. I went to lunch one time. I used to be a member of an organization called SPARS, the Society of Professional Audio Recording Studios, back when there were only 11 studios. It was like the Record Plant. I can't remember. All the big famous studios back in like 1976, 77. And my little studio, Triad Recording, got invited to be one of the initial members. So I was in New York for other purposes. I was living in Florida at the time. Got invited to go to a luncheon, a SPARS luncheon, at Windows on the World, which is the top floor of the World Trade Center. And I remember you could walk up to like a window frame and shut one eye and line up the window frame with another high-rise out there on the horizon, and you would actually see the building moving. I mean, the amount that building swayed 100 stories up was mind-blowing. Vic Morrow was killed by what? A piece of construction stuff falling on him? I used to love that show, Combat, when I was a kid. Now you watch an episode, it was just so cheesy, but back then it was high art. Music supervision keeps getting better and better. It blows my mind when I have time to watch some shows and movies. Incredible pros, these lads and ladies. Yeah, it's true. You know, the ironic thing is, and let me clear up a common misconception, people think that music supervisors are like A&R people, that they're looking for hits. They're not. They're looking for music that enhances a mood or completes a thought, fleshes out the storyline, fills in a blank. If you really concentrate, not so much on reality TV, but watch like episodic dramas like Breaking Bad, and just really pay attention to the music. Not so much, like the background source stuff that you hear in a bar on a jukebox ostensibly 50 feet away. I point that out to many times to my wife, when a scene where they go into a particular bar in Breaking Bad, and the music literally is barely audible. It's wallpaper, but they're in a bar, so it wouldn't be quiet. And I turn to Deb and say, somewhere in the world is a musician that invited a whole bunch of friends and family over to watch this episode and hear his or her music in the episode. And then when it played and they're all doing, I think I hear it. It's just like a giant wah, 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 wah. Ooh, good one, Marion. Music supervisor looking for fits, not hits. I like it. Right, waiting around to die. I heard that. Yeah, that was in one of the last few episodes, too. Let's see. Ken was in a 50-story building in a windstorm, and the horizontal blinds kept slamming against the frames. Yeah, it took me a few minutes to realize the blinds weren't moving. The building was. Yep. And it's crazy. The buildings are engineered to deal with that amount of sway. Your family watches American Idol. Wow. Pedro, you may not know this about, or maybe you will because you've been around for a long time at this point. I was actually legitimately asked 4 times in a 24-hour period to be one of the judges on American Idol first season. Whoever they had a judge that they either kicked off the show before it started filming or the person quit, whatever. And I got a call from, it was either a producer or an attorney at Fox. First they spoke, I think, to the receptionist who relayed the call to me. And they said, yeah, we've got a TV show we're doing and your name keeps coming up over and over. We got to fill the slot and we need an answer like right now. Can you do it? And I said, explain the show to me. And they did. And I said, it sounds like Star Search. Is Ed McMahon on the show? And they, no, he's not. I said, I don't know. I've got a company that I'm running. I just can't leave for weeks on end to go traveling around doing auditions. I don't know. And then like an hour later, another call came in, and then another call came in. And then the next morning, they asked me, they said, get your entertainment attorney, come down to, I think it was the Fox lot, I think. Tomorrow we'll have a drive-on pass waiting for you. We'd like to meet you, but we've seen your resume. We've seen video of you. We've seen pictures of you. You'd be perfect for the show. My heart was not in it. I didn't want to be on what I thought would be a sinking ship, and I really just couldn't take any time away from Taxi. I still can't. So I called them the next morning to graciously thank them and bow out. And when I did, they said, yeah, we could tell you weren't coming, so we hired your friend Randy Jackson. Pedro, glad you didn't do it. Otherwise, it would have been even more starstruck the first time I met you. You were starstruck? Pedro, you've got really low standards. Oh, man. Did they have any hookers and blow? Ken, you must be my age. That's a phrase that was very common back in the day. And now when I say it, like, to people who are in their 30s, they look at me like, God, what a perv you are. It's an expression. Taxi TV is a big deal. That is so funny. Oh, man, that's hysterical. Well, thank you. I hope you're kidding. It is funny that, look, we're a dopey little internet show. Yes, we've been doing it for 12 years, but it's like our audience. Quarantine is usually 50 or 60 people. Why it hasn't grown, I do not know. In a normal episode of Monday Taxi TV is anywhere from, at the end of the first day, 500 people have watched it. Maybe by the end of a week, 1,000 people have watched it. It's not like millions of viewers are flocking to Taxi TV. But it's like, excuse me, we're not famous. I'm not famous. The show's not famous. Nothing about it is famous. Oh, it's a cumulative effect. I see. That's right. We do have laugh tracks. We're the Taxians. Taxis helped a lot more people build a music career than American Idol. Well, there you go. Thank you for saying that. First time you guys played one of my tracks on Taxi TV, I felt like my heart was coming out of my chest. Wow, big deal for a small-town musician trying something like this. Well, I'm glad that we made you feel so good. I really am, and your music has always been so great that it deserved the exposure. Yeah, I told you, Rick Beato didn't even return my email or my phone call. Nathan Marshall says, I've been watching for a couple of weeks and I dig Taxi TV. Well, thanks for watching, Nathan, and welcome to the chat room. Bunch of great people in there. And I'm sure you've heard by now, but the Quarantini happy hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays are really kind of a lonely hearts club for those of us who didn't know what to do with ourselves during the quarantine. So we started this thing and it just became a little family. We actually don't really care if a whole lot of people show up, I don't think. But a lot of good stuff has come from the Quarantinis. I'm scanning. Yeah, most people never think, well, that's actually good. I think that's one of the goals of music supervision is that the music, supervisors always use the phrase, the music is not the star. There are exceptions. There are times where music is up front and center, very featured, and it's meant to be the star. But most of the time, music is there to support and enhance the mood and the emotion or fill in the blanks on a story. Wow, you joined Taxi partially because of the Stephen Baird video? That's cool. I love that guy. It was so fun having him on the show yesterday. He's just a sweet, good-natured, helpful, hardworking guy. I actually, not that anybody would perceive him to be unintelligent, but I think he's really, really bright. And because he comes across like such an everyday Joe, that people may not pick up on that. They certainly wouldn't think that he's dumb or lacking in IQ, but I think he's highly intelligent. But he's just so kind of laid back and, what you see is what you get. Yep, super smart guy. and a good guy. I mean, to me, that really counts for a lot. He's just a good guy. He's a giver. He's willing to share what he knows. He doesn't worry about helping other people become his own competition. Everything about him. I literally, we did a little video test on Sunday when I was here at the office, just to make sure that we could get it all working. And we ended up spending, I think, an hour and 10 minutes just talking to each other. Really, really likable person. He is down to earth. Do licensing opportunities ever come from making the top 10? I've got to believe that they do. I mean, we've got a fair number of music library owners that do. I would say we've probably got 4, 5, or 6 library owners that I know go on our forum and are familiar with our members. They stalk on the forum. Or no, that's not the word. Not stalking. They lurk on the forum. They can't identify themselves because otherwise everybody would be like, listen to my music. And they don't have time to listen to the stuff they need to listen to as it is, I think, in many cases. But I know that they go to the website. They go to the forum. Community. I made the mistake of drinking chamomile tea before I started the show. West Media, I joined Taxi on the advice of my longtime friend Lamar Pecorino. Thank you, Lamar. Appreciate the referral. I just can't say. I've never had anybody say to me, hey, I got a call today from a library or a supervisor or a record label or anything because I was in the top 10. We do know that when we put out one of our compilations, which is really just as bait to get more companies to list with us, we want to expose the quality of what our members are doing. So we try and pick a genre that's kind of a hot genre at the moment. And about once a quarter, we send out the compilations. Some are bigger than others. And I know from past experience that I've got a visual aid. I'll be right back. Oh no, somebody's calling me. Let's see who was calling while I was away. Oh, somebody texting me. Your show sucks. I hope that's not the case. Now, is that the chair vibrating? The show would be 90 minutes if that were the case. All right, so these don't laugh. Here, I'll show you the ones with formal covers first. What year was this? I don't even know if we put a year on here. Anyway. The Taxi Sampler. Do you know how hard it was to find chocolates that were wrapped in taxi foil? Taxi Sampler, always delicious. Volume 1. I think that was our very first one. I was literally at like a candy store and saw those little chocolate taxis. And so I bought a couple dozen of them, and then we took a box of like Brock's or something, or C's candies, and plop those babies in there. Oh, Marion thinks it looks adorable. And then, let's see. We had, see if any of these people are still members. We had Material Issue. Remember the band Material Issue? They were actually Taxi members. Martin's Dam, they eventually got a deal, but not directly through a Taxi submission, but we certainly helped, I think, put them on the map. Bob Goblin got a deal. Record got released and it stiffed because the label didn't get behind it. Effie's Head, I don't know if anything happened with them. A group from Seattle during the grunge era called Weeds. Anti-Hero, Thumb, Anton Barbeau, The Milk Duds. What a great name. Oh, I love that band. Lounge Act, the Glenn Paul Beret, The Thrill Pillows, good name for a band, Holly and Jericho. Okay, and then there's this one, Taxi Jams. Always delicious, I think. Always tasty. So, yeah, I actually baked those muffins, or not muffins, they were biscuits, and took that picture on a chair with a piece of white poster board behind it, and then gave it to the graphics guy to put the logo on there. Let's see who was on this one. The band Fisher. They signed a record deal. Four-Piece Suit from Boston. They are still Taxi members. Nick Dastardly and the Escape Artists, great band. Naked to the World, Crazy Life. Brooke Ramel, Jim Boja, Naked Blue, The Eccentrics, Sixpence None the Richer. Where have I heard of that band? Oh yes, was Sixpence None the Richer on that? You bet your butt they were. The Rosenbergs from Mahwah, New Jersey. How are we doing on time? We got time. Ross Belanger, Webster Saltman. Oh my God. Webster Saltman. That was, if I'm not mistaken, Webster Saltman was actually Marshall Altman, who was an A&R guy at Capitol, but he was also in a band called Farmer, and I think he went by the name of Webster Saltman. And then eventually he and I became very close friends. We used to golf almost every Friday together for years, like 3-4 years, I think. And then he became an A&R guy at Columbia, I think. Barry Kingston, the Screamin' Souls, Mood Room, Hugo, there's the band Fisher again, and Kerry Walker from beautiful Petaluma, California. Okay, so yeah, people do get signed as a result of these things. Your ex lived in Mahwah, New Jersey. Well, I'm not going to say anything negative about New Jersey other than I hated every minute I lived there. And that's where my divorce from my first cheating wife only cheating wife took place. Sorry, Deb, if you're watching today's show. And before we started doing them, oh no, these aren't compilations. This is, I used to have the staff make me CDs of the best stuff that they'd heard, that the screeners heard every week, because I used to travel a lot. Now I do everything, online with a camera, but I used to travel a lot, like probably 3 trips a month, and I would listen to stuff on the plane just to be well aware of what was going on. So 15 on that one, 16 on this one, so typically 15-ish. Let's see if there's anybody on here. Really fine print. Caleb Hawley, I remember he was very talented. Helen Austin, she was on one of, this wasn't a compilation that went out to the industry. This was an in-house compilation. Adrian Sarah, All the Good Stuff. Oh, man. Paul Coughlin, he's a very successful Taxi member. We launched his career. He had a different career being in a band years ago, but I think that we launched his licensing career. Graham Slater, I remember him. I mean, these things are like 12, 15 years old now. Anyway, you get the idea. So the question was, do people ever get licensed from being in the top 10? I would suspect yes. I would suspect that all those are probably from the mid-90s, like 96, 97 through probably 2003, 2004, somewhere in that range. It's just shocking to me how many people don't report their deals to us. It's crazy how many people don't report their deals. Taxi Biz Cred reads like a novel. So cool. Wow. I'd love a copy of that novel. Thank you. Hello, Ronald Schultz. Any of the staff still around? No. No is the answer to that. But we have had staff members, like Doug Minnick worked here for 10 years, I believe. Solmaz Alijeva worked here for a dozen years. Screener number 19 has been with us since 1994. He came on board about a month after the Northridge earthquake. Was Taylor Hicks a member? I want to say yes. I kind of remember that Taylor Hicks was a taxi member. I shall look in the database right now and let you know, although the oldest part of the database is backed up and no longer on the active hard drive. Stuff from like 92 to probably 2000. But let me see. We have definitely had some American Idol people. Taylor Hicks. Yes, Taylor Hicks was a member. Let me see. Taylor Hicks found out about us from the magazine Illinois Entertainer and joined Taxi in 2000, the year 2000, so 21 years ago. Pretty cool, huh? Wait, where'd you guys go? There you are. Terrell has noticed that Taxi is pushing social media activity harder. Will Taxi make a Spotify appearance? I don't know. We've talked about it briefly. I wouldn't say there's a push to do it right now. Honestly, we just keep looking for ways to do what we do better, to serve the industry better. We are like at an all-time high right now for making music libraries happy. We get so many nice compliments from them. Who's screener number 7? If I told you, I'd have to kill you, but I do remember, actually. You heard my name on American Idol when you were channel surfing? I doubt it. I used to have a really good friend who was on American Idol for 2 or 3 seasons, Cara Diaguardi. Gosh, I haven't talked to her in a long time, but we're pretty good friends. Can't say that we're like, besties, but she did call me. I'm sure I've told you guys this story, but she was coming home from the hospital with her newborn baby all swaddled up and, carrying the baby through the front door of her house for the first time. And she got one of those BS texts that said, I was stranded in the Philippines. I'd been robbed of my wallet. I had no credit cards, no cash. Can you help me? And Cara Diaguardi got that text, and she actually stopped as she was walking in her front door and calls me, and she goes, Lasco, it's Cara. Are you okay? I said, yeah. Why do you ask? And she said, because I just got your text. I said, I haven't texted you in like months. Anyway, she fell for it. But I thought that was incredibly sweet of her to stop dead in her tracks as she was carrying her newborn baby over the threshold. I've shown you more transparency than anybody so far. Thanks for that. What was so transparent? I may appreciate the kind words. have the members increased because of COVID? We've had a nice increase in members, and frankly, I feel a little guilty about it because there's so many small businesses that have really been hurting through COVID. We actually grew a little bit in 2020. It was a healthy growth. It wasn't like, off the charts big, but there was definitely healthy growth here. The staff has performed remarkably well, even working remotely. I'd say in some regards we've become more organized working remotely because there's less like people walking into other people's offices and we all kind of distract each other. I think remotely lets us focus on our work more, and everybody just had to be more responsible. We've been more organized about having meetings on regular times. Oh, shoot, that's right. Liz, I forgot to email Bria and tell her I'd like to cancel tomorrow's meeting. Could you please shoot her a thing on WhatsApp and let her know that Michael says, let's just postpone till the next marketing meeting. Thank you. I would say probably the first round of checks that went out, the stimulus checks that went out, we definitely saw a bump from that. I think our marketing has been more organized and more timely, so that's probably helped. I think that people being home and having the time to work on their music probably almost certainly helped. Then again, a lot of musicians lost their gigs. You among them, Andre. Didn't you have like a regular gig that you played? And so on one hand, people got some money, and I pray to God that they didn't spend their money on a taxi membership if they actually needed it to pay rent or to eat or something. Anyway, wow, look at that. It's 5:02. Show's over. I have no clue what we're going to do for Thursday's quarantini. So if you guys would be so kind to please go into the comment section after this show is up on YouTube, which will be moments after. Go in there and, wow, you lost 15 gigs a month. Ouch. I'm sorry. And any ideas you have for topics that we can talk about, questions, topics, an entire idea for a whole show would be awesome. And I will see you guys Thursday right back here. If you are not already, hold on. Where did my little signs go? There's another one that I had that's missing. Oh, there's that one. First of all, you'll get a kick out of this. Everything's come full circle. Don't forget to share. Clearly, the letters on this are green. Now, that's some TV magic right there. If you're new and you haven't hit the red subscribe button, please do. Set up an alert so when we go live, if you're like eating dinner or getting, a manicure or something, you can like just drop whatever you're doing and watch the show. And last but not least, please give us a like so that YouTube likes us better than they already do. Much appreciated. See you, ladies and gentlemen, Thursday, 4 o'clock Pacific time, right here. Same time, same channel, adios.